So the Baltimore Ravens, they do go receiver as many of us were expecting. Listen, they needed a wide receiver. They did. And so getting Rashod Bateman, who pretty much everyone had in like their top 7. Most people didn't have him in their top 3, but pretty much everyone had like top 5 to 7, myself included. I think that he is a very talented wide receiver, and I think that there's a lot to like about him. He is kind of this big body guy, so if people want to complain about Lamar Jackson's accuracy, which is overblown, but there is something there, so getting a guy who can, sort of have a big catch radius helps, and I also think that just his route running, that's something that's really underrated, and we're going to get into all of that in the film study, but first, just talking about this reason why they're getting a receiver in general. I mean, the reality is with Baltimore, teams are going to have to play zone coverage against them a good amount. If you play man, Lamar Jackson's going to run for 50 yards. You saw that in that big run he had in the Tennessee playoff game. You play man, he can just get open that way. You got to play zone against the Ravens so you can have a chance to stop Lamar from scrambling. And in doing that, you want a guy who can be a good route runner, a guy who's tall so he can sort of catch over the linebackers. That's actually something that matters, and Bateman's 6'2", so the fit just works there. And again, they needed a receiver. I don't know how many quarterbacks get as many wins as Lamar Jackson got, and everyone blames him because people are stupid. But you watch that Bills game, I mean, there weren't guys open, and this makes things easier for Hollywood Brown. He can be a number 2. Mark Andrews he doesn't have to be the number 1 target for Baltimore. So on that pick 6 in the Bills game, you saw Lamar, he basically had to try and force it in to Andrews. He felt like he had to at least. Well, now he won't feel like he has to do that. So there's a lot to like about Bateman, including just who he is as a player. So let's jump into the film and talk about what I like about him. So we'll start off with a play like this. So it's going to be one of the things you always talk about is how can a receiver win as a plus receiver? And while Bateman on this play literally isn't the plus receiver. He's the number 2 receiver. He's the slot receiver on this play. He's essentially serving that role. He's going to be running deep towards the sideline with a single safety deep. So let's see how well he does. Watch how right when this play starts, he has just great acceleration and speed where he can just blow by that defensive back. So right away, he's able to get by. I don't know how other people feel about this. I love the number 0. I think it's a great number on a wide receiver. I don't know why. I think other players, it probably wouldn't be that great. I feel like I wouldn't want a quarterback with number 0, but number 0 for a wide receiver, it just works. Maybe because the position is similar to basketball where 0 is more common. I don't know. Big fan of number 0, though. However, the issue with this is, I'm not talking about the number anymore. The issue with the play is the ball is going to be a bit behind Bateman. So not horribly behind him, but a bit behind him, which isn't ideal, obviously. But as you see, he is able to adjust and still make the grab. So, good acceleration, good speed. There's guys who can accelerate better. There's guys who are faster, but not a lot. He's pretty good at that. So he can win on the outside. There's no doubt about it. But honestly, next I want to bring up this play because, he's 6'2", 290 pounds. We talk about some of these bigger guys and what they bring to the table. But what a lot of them don't have that someone like Bateman does have is footwork. And you look at bigger receivers in the NFL that are able to be successful, oftentimes they at least have a pretty good footwork. Maybe it's not elite, but it's usually pretty good. And Bateman's is really good. Bateman's has really good footwork. And so at his size, having good footwork, that's promising. Like on this play, it's it's going to be a route where he's going to cut over the middle, and watch how well he does this. Right when this play starts, notice how, again, really good job of just making that fake where he really sold that he was going to the outside, then gets over the middle. So that's good route running and good footwork. He's open now at this point, in open space, did a good job of getting over the middle. But again, that's one move. Now I want you to see this second cut. Again, makes a cut, gets back to the outside now, and it's going to use his speed to pick up even more yards. So really good footwork. Again, how well will those kind of moves work in the NFL? Not that well. But how good is that footwork? Really good. So that's kind of my point. Just because usually in open space, you don't get that many yards in the NFL. But usually in the NFL, making good cuts can still work. I want to bring up this play now. So this play, by the way, wild situation going on right here. College football, very fun. It's a 35-0 game with 19 seconds left. So, Minnesota, just trying to get on the board here. Just trying to not get shut out. That's what they're playing for at this point. But you see Bateman's route. He's going to run basically right into the defensive back and then cut. And the cut is going to be what I want you to take notice of. Watch how right when this play starts, you notice how he's going to run up. And at this point, it's really good job of that stem portion of the route, which I often talk about being very important. He's not giving away where he's running. Could cut to the middle, could cut to the outside. probably one of those two. I doubt he's going to turn around right now and cut, because why would you do that to gain 2 yards? But still, this little bit helps you, because that part of route running, that means that unless a defensive back has enough speed to, once he reads what's going on, get to the ball, which this defensive back isn't going to. Most defensive backs don't have more speed than Bateman in college. Decent amount will in the NFL, but most won't in college. But watch how he then cuts, and he's able to get open enough that he makes even a tough grab. It wasn't a perfect throw. So he definitely has really good footwork and really good route running. And that was something that surprised me about him, because, you know, you see these 6'2 receivers, you don't expect them to have the best route running, but he does have it. Like, this one's another good example where it's a cover 3 zone, and you see his route, he's running to the outside. But what he's going to do is he's going to fake as though he's going over the middle. And watch how he does that, where he's going to run. He totally gets that defensive back completely out of position. He was wide open on that play. Not the best camera angle, but I think you still saw what I was talking about, the route running of faking as though you're going over the middle, then getting to the outside. That stuff is really good, and that works in the NFL. It absolutely does. And okay, one last play. This one's another one where it's something that I find interesting. Not sure how well this will translate to the NFL, but it is something that he definitely was able to do in college. He's running a jet sweep to the bottom of the screen, so that's the way this play works. And right when this play starts, you notice how, okay, I guess it technically wasn't a jet sweep. It was one of those little pitch pass things, but, you know, close enough. They should count the same, in my opinion. Anyways, a defensive player is running over and trying to get into the play, but what Bateman is going to do is he's going to try and stiff arm him out of the way, which is, you know, it's something that, how well does this work in the NFL? Well, there are certainly some wide receivers who can stiff arm defensive players. That absolutely is a thing. There also are some wide receivers who can stiff arm in college but can't do it in the NFL because it's just more difficult doing it against better athletes. So this is always one of those wild cards. But still, watch this, you know, really good stiff arm right there. Really impressive stuff right there. So again, how much is that going to translate to the NFL? I don't know, but you don't know either. We're all guessing here with some of this stuff. However, even if you want to say, like, okay, let's just assume that his ability to make guys miss when he's in open space, that's not going to work out as well. Let's just assume that his ability to stiff arm and, you know, break tackles isn't going to work out as well in the NFL. Well, guess what? He still has incredible footwork. He's still 6'2" and still pretty fast. So, you know, he ran a sub 4.4 40 at the pro day, but again, pro day times, always have to put a asterisk next to it. And it was literally as bad of a time you can get while still being sub 4.4. It was 4.39, so bit misleading by saying sub 4.4, but that's what I do. Not really. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.